On March 3, 1974, Turkish Airlines Flight 981 departed Paris Orly Airport bound for London. 10 minutes after takeoff, the McDonnell Douglas DC-10 suffered catastrophic failure and disintegrated mid-air over the Ermenonville forest. All 346 passengers and crew died instantly. At the time, it became the deadliest aviation disaster in history. Investigators soon discovered the cause was not random, nor was it unforeseeable. It was the result of a flawed design known to the manufacturer, ignored warnings from previous incidents, and systemic failures that allowed the same problem to happen again, with devastating consequences. The DC-10's design flaw. The DC-10, built by McDonnell Douglas, was created to rival Boeing's 747. It featured a wide-body design, 3 engines, and advanced cargo capabilities. To maximize space, engineers designed an outward-opening cargo door rather than the traditional inward type. While this allowed for more luggage, it created a dangerous vulnerability. During flight, cabin pressure pushes outward on such doors. This meant the locking mechanism had to be exceptionally strong and flawlessly engineered. Unfortunately, the DC-10's latch system could appear secured when it wasn't, leaving the door susceptible to sudden failure. Previous warning: Flight 96. This flaw was not unknown. In 1972, 2 years before the Turkish Airlines crash, American Airlines Flight 96 experienced a nearly identical cargo door failure shortly after takeoff from Detroit. The explosive decompression tore the door from the fuselage, collapsing part of the cabin floor and severing control cables. Miraculously, the pilots maintained limited control and landed safely. The incident sparked warnings from investigators, who demanded urgent design changes to prevent recurrence. McDonnell Douglas, however, implemented only minor modifications, arguing that the risk was manageable. Those warnings proved tragically prophetic. The day of the disaster. Flight 981 was operating a scheduled service from Istanbul to London with a stopover in Paris. The leg from Paris was packed, with over 300 passengers joining the flight. At 12:30 p.m., the DC-10 lifted off and climbed steadily. Just as it reached 23,000 feet, the rear cargo door, improperly latched during pre-flight, blew off. The resulting decompression was instantaneous and violent. The cabin floor above the cargo hold collapsed, severing control cables to the tail surfaces. The pilots suddenly lost the ability to control pitch or rudder, leaving them powerless. The aircraft nosedived at nearly 500 miles per hour, crashing into the Ermenonville forest with unimaginable force. There were no survivors. Investigation and accountability. The investigation by French authorities uncovered damning evidence. The latch system's design allowed ground crews to force the handle closed even when the locking pins were misaligned. Worse, an electrical vent system meant to equalize pressure had not been mandated, leaving the floor vulnerable to collapse in a decompression scenario. Investigators also discovered that McDonnell Douglas had been aware of these risks after the 1972 incident, but resisted a full redesign due to cost and production delays. Responsibility extended beyond the manufacturer. Maintenance procedures at Paris Orly were scrutinized. Ground staff had struggled with the stiff latch mechanism and may have forced it shut without realizing it was improperly secured. The FAA and other regulators faced criticism for failing to enforce stronger corrective measures after Flight 96, despite knowing the danger existed. Aftermath and safety reforms. The aftermath of Flight 981 reshaped aviation safety standards. McDonnell Douglas redesigned the DC-10 cargo door system, reinforcing loss and adding venting features to prevent catastrophic floor collapse. Regulators worldwide tightened certification requirements for cargo doors and decompression testing. The tragedy also exposed flaws in how safety warnings were handled. Near misses like Flight 96 were no longer dismissed as isolated anomalies, but treated as urgent calls for reform. Despite the improvements, the DC-10's reputation never fully recovered. Subsequent accidents, including the 1979 American Airlines Flight 191 crash, cemented its troubled legacy. Still, many safety measures born from Flight 981 remain industry standards today, ensuring similar design oversights are not repeated. Conclusion: Turkish Airlines Flight 981 stands as one of aviation's darkest chapters, a tragedy that could have been prevented had earlier warnings been heeded. The design flaw was known, the risks documented, and yet corrective action came too late. This disaster underscores a painful truth. In aviation, safety is often written in blood. The lives lost over the Ermenonville forest forced sweeping reforms that continue to protect passengers today. But it remains a haunting reminder that even a single overlooked detail can doom hundreds, and that complacency in aircraft design carries an unbearable cost.